back to the AHA podcast. I'm your host, Anastasia.
And I'm your other host, Hannah, and I'm reporting live from what looks like a mental asylum.
Girl, it fits for me after watching this movie. I might have to admit myself because, girl, I have a lot of thoughts. But do you really have to go to the bathroom right now, girl? Sorry. She really was like, I'm going to wait till you guys start recording.
Like, shh.
Not while you're setting everything up, but
No.
exactly when you record. Girl, you know
This
what?
is Katya's show. This is Katya's show, and we're just special guests.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think you can hear her. But it's fine. We're going to keep going. So, by the title of the episode, we are going to be talking about Asteroid City, Wes Anderson's new film that just came out. And we're going to change our format a little bit. And I think I like this format a little bit more. We're going to do all the news and updates and that kind of stuff. We're going to do it at the end of like our discussion of Asteroid City, and we kind of want to do that for the rest of the episodes we're gonna do. That way, those of you who just want to hear our thoughts on said, show or movie that the episode is on, you don't have to sit through like 45 minutes of us just talking random shit about news and stuff. So if you're interested in that, we're still doing that. It's just gonna be at the end of the episode instead of right at the beginning. So, with that being said, let's hop in and discuss Asteroid City because I have some thoughts, and I'm gonna preface before I get into my thoughts before people come at me and at my jugular. Okay, I really love Wes Anderson's movies. I think he's great. Asteroid City, on the other hand, I don't think is the movie for me. I still enjoyed it. No, hold on, girl. I still very much enjoyed it. Very, very much enjoyed it. But it's not my favorite Wes Anderson movie. And I went in not knowing anything really about it. I just knew the cast, and I knew a little bit about what the plot was. Other than that, I went in kind of blind. Oh, hold on. Before I get into the movie itself, I need to share a story with you about what happened in this movie theater. Okay, so I went last night, okay? And I went by myself. First of all, my mom thought that was the weirdest fucking shit she's ever heard in her life. And I was like, Mom, I'm gonna go by myself.
Doing that.
I was like, that's not weird. I'm like, also, I don't have really any other friends that are gonna go with me, so I ain't gonna wait for nobody. I'm gonna go by myself.
Also, I'm over here like, can you hurry up and watch this movie?
That too, bitch. I was like, but no, girl. I was like, Mama, I gotta watch this before this certain date because we want to make an episode on it. So, okay, are you out? What are you doing? She really said my show.
She digging a hole to Asteroid City.
She's going to China, girl. To Asteroid City. Girl, she's the alien that popped up in the movie. Sorry, spoiler alert. Sorry, y'all. But no, let me share this. So I went by myself, okay? And I want to say, like, an hour into the movie. Maybe we had, like, 30 minutes or so left. I don't know. Left of this movie. And I'm sitting, like, in the center of, the theater. And keep in mind, this theater is super small. Maybe not even like 25 seats. And so it's a very small theater. And there was like 6 other people besides myself, and it was 3 couples and then me. Story of my life. And so I'm sitting by myself, and these people like are behind me, diagonally behind me. And throughout the movie, they're having like just random, like full conversations of random shit that does not pertain to the movie, okay? And I was like, well, first of all, I was like, look, I talk during movies too sometimes, but that's...
Sometimes.
Okay, whatever, all the time. But girl, it pertains to the movie.
Let me peek this audio.
Like, at least I'm talking about the movie. These people talk about, like, what are we buying for groceries tomorrow? I was like, can you shut the fuck up?
Okay, wait. Yesterday I was in the movie theater, and this lady was literally till the movie started, I think, on the phone call with somebody, like on speaker, loud, playing loud videos too, and you're like,
ma'am,
you do this, and like it had to like actually start the movie for her to be like, oh, my bad. These people got no respect for this cinema.
They have no respect for the movies, man. And so And so this other couple that was like on the other side of me, the girlfriend or wife or whatever, I'm not sure what their relationship status is, but she like yelled at them and she's like, "Can you guys shut the fuck up?" She's like, "Can you shut up? Can you stop talking?" And then I kid you not, even a minute later, the girl of the couple that were talking like got up and like was like upset and like walked out, and then her boyfriend walked after her or whatever, and he's like pointing to the girl. And keep in mind, like, okay, if I'm sitting here, the guy was like right here in front of me because I was like right by the like the bear. What the fuck is that shit called? Or I don't know, but like the aisle
The
and then
railing. Oh.
railing. Yes, thank you. Yeah, yeah. And he's like walking out, and he was like, "Fuck you!" Like, and I'm literally like, "Okay, hold on. This alien just landed. I don't know what's going on in this movie." I'm like, I can't be bothered to fucking listen to you like yelling at this other woman. He's like, "Fuck you, you fat bitch, fat." And I literally was like, "Go." I'm like, "Leave." I'm like, "Leave then." Jesus Christ. And then we finished the movie, and then I went up to the girl. I was like, "Girl," I was like, "Do not." I'm like, "He's got the IQ of a walnut shell." I'm like, "Don't." He's
Of a
dumb. He's
walnut shell.
But I was like, what are you doing coming to a movie theater to have random wait until at least after the movie to have the conversation that you want to have? Like, I don't understand. Shut the fuck up.
Also, it's not like if it was just you, yeah, then go ahead and talk during the movie or whatever. But it's also like you realize other people are there, and I have to say that's like the good thing I liked is that this movie was like an hour and a half, which is like rare nowadays. So it's not like it was a long ass movie, and I don't think the pacing was bad at all. Like it moved along. So it's like also it's a Wes Anderson film. There was some shit that was happening fast and people like popping up that you were like, wait, let me catch all of this. That you really cannot be having a fucking full on conversation during this movie if you really want to get everything. So it's like if you fucking don't want to be at this movie, fucking get up and leave.
Like I don't understand. But anyway, that was like really funny. And the girl was like, I just don't she's like, I don't care. She's like, I just like she's like the theater itself was small and it wasn't that loud, like the audio on the film wasn't that loud. And so if these people are talking, like we couldn't hear like the dialogue of the movie. And so you're like, okay, bitch, I'm gonna need you to shut the fuck up because I'm missing some shit that I probably need to know in order for this movie to make sense for me. So I'm probably gonna go watch it again, honestly, watch it one more time and actually sit and hopefully not have annoying couples fucking talking the entire time. Anyway, let's get into the movie. Obviously, there's spoilers. We're gonna talk about the entire movie. If you don't want to hear those, I don't know what the fuck you're doing on this podcast. So,
Okay, but I will say this. So when I had heard like Asteroid City, whatever, watch the trailer and stuff, I thought it was like what the trailer was telling you, like the look of it, all that stuff. When you watch this movie, the opening scene, you'll be like, wait, what the fuck? This is something added to what you thought this movie was gonna be. It's still about a town, Asteroid City, and all this stuff, and Meteor and the fucking alien. But I had went to IMDb, I think, to look up like how long the movie was or whatever, and then I had read the description, and it said like about the man who writes the play, da 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 da. So then I actually knew going in that it was going to be about them writing the play and how this Asteroid City is actually a play. Which and then I think my favorite thing overall this movie was the cameos. I mean I love Hong Chow and then Margot Robbie popping up
popping
and
up towards the end.
like there's people like literally because she had the picture and I was like wait is that all they did and I'm glad she actually had some speaking lines like and then, no offense, tell me how, again, showing you, like, you could miss it. Like, I miss that Jeff Goldblum was the alien. Like, when they're walking, that scene where he's, like, they're talking, I literally, yeah, he's out of the thing. I miss that he was the fucking alien. I was like, oh, wait, he was playing. But, like, because there's so much happening. I mean, the whole way Wes Anderson does it, like, everything looks so beautifully shot and staged, and everything looks so good, and the acting was, like, on par. But definitely this is a movie that I think I would watch it again. I would watch like an analysis. Like I would want somebody to break it down and be like, because I'm dumb, you know, I'm not that smart of a cinema taker. Like, I mean, I catch stuff, but like, give me some time. Like, and then like what other people are saying of like, no offense, like obviously there was like meaning between like making a play and the meaning of life and how sometimes shit just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like that overall theme of it and I would like to like dive into that and kind of like look at like oh, this is why he did this, and the meaning of that to appreciate this film more, because there's definitely a film where you're like, what the fuck? Like, you
No,
watch it the first
absolutely.
time.
I think the one thing nobody ever can debate on Wes Anderson's movies is that they are all so visually beautiful and pleasing, and his shot composition and his camera movements and his coloring, his color grading in his films are so beautiful, and I don't think anybody could do it the way he does it, which is where a lot of my love and appreciation for his films come from. But I do think in order for me to gauge a better appreciation for the film, like you said, I'd probably need to see it again. And I would love to watch more interviews with him and like his team and everyone to kind of understand a little more from their perspective. And like you said, like analysis videos, because people who do those do like God's work or some shit, because I'm like, wow. Then you watch those and you're like, wow, and like I totally understand it a lot more now and appreciate it a lot more. So definitely probably have to go into watching some of those because yeah, shit happens quick in this movie. But then also with what you had mentioned before, which I didn't know reading the synopsis I had read that it
They
was a
changed.
play.
They updated the synopsis, because I had seen before like an older, like whatever, where it was like,
They
oh,
did.
Asteroid City, whatever. And I'm pretty sure like it changed to more the play thing, because like from the trailer and just like reading, like people were saying, oh, Asteroid City. They never weren't really like pushing that play idea, that it was a play about like the guy who wrote the play of
Yeah,
it.
I had no idea that that's what that was. So when that first of all, that I love the smaller aspect ratio that he had that they had chosen to use for the opening, but also if I remember correctly, it was also used for when it was how do I word this? When it was talking about the actors in the play, but not the play itself. Does
Hmm.
that make sense?
Yeah, because everything that was like the special like was in that aspect ratio, and also in black and white, and then everything that was like
The
this is the play
play movie,
happening was
yeah.
like the color graded wider aspect ratio. And I mean, I love Bryan Cranston. That was a perfect role for him,
Oh my
like
gosh.
playing this little thing, and just that whole staging again of it, of like how they introduced it and then was like, but again, it goes so fast because you have these random bits cut in between, and then you have like, the title cards with like this
Act
scene
1,
from,
Act
like,
2,
I don't
Act
even have time to process like, okay, that scene, this and that, okay, this is what's happening, and then like it's definitely a movie you definitely have to rewatch, I think, to appreciate it more. But you could definitely appreciate just what you saw. But there is a lot that you're like, wait, oh my
what?
gosh, wait, okay, that's the director, that's the thing that you're like, hold on, I need a little bit of a second to like consume all this information that I'm getting. Like, and then also because there was so much stuff, like the instant the scene with Hong Chow, like when she said, she was like, have her say goodbye like at the end, and then you think, oh, we never saw that, but then they played it in that scene. Or that, like, oh, he's the director and then this guy's the, because I was getting a little confused with everybody's role, because they were like cutting like quick
So
of like, and
fast,
saying
yeah.
names, and I was like, who the fuck is that? Like the letter to like Scarlett Johansson's character when she's on the train, and then the fact that he was the understudy, even though he looked just like the other guy, that was a little bit confusing, because they were like, oh, he's the understudy. And I was like, wait, I saw him in the opening. Like, bitch, I'm confused. I thought that was. But, and then it was like, oh, the director was writing the letter, even though we had never met the director until that point. So
Until
a little bit, some
later.
of that stuff was like, okay, yeah, it's going to take me a minute to catch on, but I will. But like, yeah, it's a lot happening of, yeah, of understanding everyone's relationship with each other and all that stuff. But I mean, but he always gets a good ass ensemble cast. Like,
That's also another thing he does so incredibly well is cast his movies. And you're like also, yeah, the like sprinkling of all these actors, which I in my head would probably never pair together in a movie, but the fact that he did it, I was like, okay, yeah, I think Wes Anderson's the only one who would put fucking Willem Dafoe in a movie with Maya Hawke and Tilda Swinton and like all these, and you're like, okay, it worked. It works so
yeah,
well.
I mean, you have some of his common players, of course, like that are always in his movies, but then like the additions that they added. Maya Hawke did like a beautiful, like, I'm so happy for her getting more roles, like, and doing a role like this too, because like you don't want her to get like so much like teenager stuff or whatever, or
Right.
like young adult stuff, or like typecasted. And then I have to say though, I think for me, like the best performances were the three little girls. Like they
Girls.
were stealing the like every scene they were in, and like when they were like even the fasting when they're like, "Oh, I'm a witch, I'm a vampire," and then that they let them dress up as it later, I thought was a great touch. And then they were doing like the voodoo thing. Like I thought the writing for them was so like realistic and accurate to how kids talk and are like comprehending that grief and stuff. That like amidst all this shit that's happening, like those three of like, I'm gonna do this voodoo on my mom and she's gotta stay buried here, and then Tom Hanks is their granddad, like coming in like, what the heck? And then everyone in love with what was it, Mitch? What was her
Mitch.
name? Right, Mitch.
Mitch.
Was it Mitch Campbell?
Yes, it was. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. And then even the green lighting, I have to say, for the UFO coming, like, and how no one was speaking. I have to say that alien scene when they come in. I'm not gonna genderize the alien. When they come in, and the way it was wearing like the creature was like all black and had the big eyes. It really, and the
Just,
movement was so like burglary. Like it was like.
and then he goes to take a picture of it, and he's like,
Yeah. When he poses for you, you're like, okay, great. Yeah, but like the whole movements where he was like, I guess anybody happen, and everyone's like, which I like that they played on the whole alien thing, that it was like we don't really know what they're doing and we never found out the information, and that they would be awkward too to encounter us. Like if you really thought about it, like you'd be like, what the fuck? You're like, I just came here for my meteor to like inventory it and that's it, just want to make sure everything's accounted for. Don't, but the song though, and then again those little kids like that were part of like that schooling. His song though was a jam. The little kid who wanted to be a cowboy, and them like, yeah, even the random characters that you had like in this, where it's like, hey, you have the dad, and then how each, of course, you have the teenage kids who are there for the camp to like do their cool little nerd ass science shit or whatever, space stuff, and then their parents and how like that relationship, and then even the even those kids, even the teenagers were good in how they were like doing their game, and they're like, we're all like too smart for this, like, what are we gonna, but yeah. And then the chaos at the end when they're all like, and then the two like kiss and then shoot it up on the moon, their initials, and you're like, oh shit. And then the guy goes up and he's like, wait, what is this play about? And I don't understand why he puts his hand on the griddle, and then you're like, I don't know either. I don't know either.
but that is the most theater thing or artist thing I've ever heard in my life, where it's like, oh, I don't know, but we're just gonna do it anyway, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I think like again, like the whole like theme of it, where it was an interesting way that they combined this story with the telling of like a play and art that like I think also because you grow up, no offense, like okay, in America in schooling in language arts, you are always meant to find the author's purpose. You're always meant to be like, why did they say blue? What did they mean? What did they mean? You're always trying to find meaning in literature and anything that you do. And sometimes a fucking author just wrote blue because they fucking liked blue or it rhymed. And you know what I mean? Like but we're trying to find a meaning for everything. And I think this was kind of like a telling of like, sometimes just fucking, that's life. Like there is no like overall meaning. Like, no, I need to know every single thing it has to have a meaning for. It's like, not really. Like you're not gonna find a meaning for every simple thing. Like sometimes that line you just wrote it because it worked or he wanted this, but yeah, as an actor, you're like, wait, I want to find every single thing. Why am I doing this? What is the action? Like, my emotion behind my action or whatever. But yeah, no, it was good. Like I enjoyed it, but it definitely was something that you sat there and you were like, okay, that was like I don't even know how to explain. Like if I was like, he chose you on the play, and then like to even go into detail of it, it's a bit hard to like be like, yeah. And then this scene, like if I had to play out, I mean, also it's like a week old. Like if I had to play out like every scene that happened, like, oh wait, yeah, and then they go here, and then this happens in the play, but then the backstory. I will say though, the dream sequence that they cut, and that the whole sleeping thing, that shit I did not get at all.
I don't know. Like,
It was like you cannot sleep if you or whatever. You can't go to
no, wait,
sleep
no,
if
it's
you're
like you
awake or
can't.
whatever. You cannot be awake if you're asleep. I
If you
don't
don't,
know. I can't even remember it now.
hold on, hold on, hold on. It was like some girl. I don't know, some cool shit where it was like you can't. Oh no,
You
hold
can't
on.
wake up if you go to some. I don't know. I don't know.
Something
Something
about
like
if you don't
that.
go to
Sleeping
sleep.
and awaking. Yeah.
Something about you can't XYZ if you don't go to sleep. So so do with that information as you will, because I don't remember what it was, what that line was. But that was, yeah, I was like, but also I will say that type of shit, because that scene was like, oh, everyone do improv of like falling asleep or whatever. And I was like, that is literally the most improv thing I've ever seen in my fucking entire life. Like, God bless Wes Anderson for writing this shit so accurately, because if I walked into an improv group, I can't speak. Um, that's exactly what you would see when you walk into an improv group or any
And I like
theater
how
thing.
everyone was different too. Like one was, like the one guy stood
Sleepwalking.
up and all of this, like that. Like it was nice how everybody like played along with it. But again, you're asking actors to fucking, they've all been there in the improv. They're like, I don't know, I need to see you guys play out this shit that I'm writing. Like, let's see what's happening. And then you're like, this don't make no sense.
Which also, that shit does help when you write shit down, but then you have a table read or whatever, and you hear people say the lines, and you're like, that was fucking dumb. Why the fuck did I write that? Or you get the opposite where you're like, oh shit, that's really good. We're gonna keep that. So table reads are. I know that wasn't a table read in the movie, but like,
Right, but like having people act it out so you can actually see, and then it helps you flow or like be like, oh, I really like how you delivered that. Okay, no, like that's how maybe I want the emotion behind that, or flow of other ideas. But and okay, I do have to say one of my favorite other scenes was when Bryan Cranston popped up,
and he's like,
and
oh,
then they
am I
looked
not?
at him. He was like, I'm not supposed to be in this part.
And
I
he's
was
like, you know what? Keep going. And then he's slowly like, I love that. That's yeah. No, the
like his timing of coming in and entering and moving was so like on point, and I can only imagine like the rehearsals of like the
oh
framing and all
my
that stuff, but
god,
like it paid off. Like it paid off really well.
this is a movie I definitely would love to see behind the scenes for. And like, I mean, like all the nerd in me wants to see every like step of the process of getting it from like script to what you see on screen, because the one thing I fucking love so much about Wes Anderson's films is the fact that he has some shots that are very static, and it's just, you know, there's no movement, it's very static. But
Mm-hmm.
then he has those beautiful shots where he like the camera pans and then pans again and you add another person into the frame. Like the way he does that like tickles my brain in such a specific way that I love, because the one thing I fucking heard in fucking film school was don't use movement in your shots. Like keep it static, don't move anything, just keep it. But then I'm like, yo, that's so boring.
But the movies we're used to now have so much movement that it's hard to be like yes, it was more as like foundation, like learn if you can make a movie without movement. But then when movement's added, it's so much more
It
powerful. And I
adds
would
more.
love. I need to go like stock the camera department, like the dolly grip, like the dollies on this thing, because the fact is the movement is so sharp that it's like I wonder how many takes that shot talk of like boom up here pan perfectly, and it's so sharp and good and everything's on cue that it just when something is just like that's so satisfactory because it just fucking nailed it perfectly each time, there's like a high off of it that you're like, damn, that was so good. Like everything was so sharp, and I think it works because of like, like the whole sense of it being like a theater production and having people who, whether they are familiar with theater or not, of like being like, boom, here's the part, and like how again important rehearsal is. That like yeah, wondering how much they did to rehearsal because it's not something that you're like, I can go fucking breathe. Let me go do that, and then you realize, wait, I have no fucking time in rehearsal, which is you never have in film school any fucking time to rehearse. They're like, no, yeah, you're gonna meet your actors today on day one of shooting, and
Good luck.
good luck.
Literally all it was. Um but yeah, no, I will say I really, really loved the cutting between like the play itself, but then also like I don't know how to word that. Like the play itself, and then like the stuff that happens like behind the scenes with the
Like how they
actors when
made
they're
the
not in
play.
yeah, like when they're not in character, you have some of the I loved that because I thought like the movie was just gonna be the same thing because in the trailer you get no
No black and white, none of that. Yeah.
yeah, so when the film started and you get that opening shot and then open I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, are they broadcasting this shit? I'm like, what's going on? And then after a little bit, you're like, oh, wait, what? So that was like a fun little like misdirect within the trailer. Because sometimes trailers will give like a shit ton away for the movie. And you're like, well, I don't gotta go see this movie because I just watched it in a 2 minute long trailer. So I think that was a really good decision on whoever's part. I'm not sure. Wes Anderson's part or whoever decides the fucking trailer. um to keep that little part of it out of there so that when you go see the movie it's a little like not jarring but a little like a surprise, like a little present where you're like, oh, it's not where you think it's gonna be. And I don't think I've seen another movie that has done that before where it's like a play within a movie but also the act you see like the actors. Confusing.
Yeah, not the way that he did it. I mean, there's been like, but not in the way that he like edited it, like cut it together. Like there's, yeah, I
That's
haven't
yeah,
seen
that's what I mean.
anything like the way that he's done it. Yeah, where they chose and yeah, and even I love that we still got like a scene between Margot Robbie's character who played like the wife and him. Like, oh, they cut this, but they still like rehearsed the lines, and yeah, it was really well done. But yeah, it's I think the moral of the story is that it's okay if it's a lot at first, like if you don't catch everything or if you're like, wait, what? That's okay. That's majority of everybody who's watched it.
There's also the scene that I really loved was when we first get introduced to the director because didn't he like I think in the script it was like, oh, he like slept, he like lived in the theater, and I was like, that's some
Mm-hmm.
shit I would do. So I relate to this character, I relate to this man a
Same.
lot. And that entire like also the fucking dolly, all of those like scenes with the dolly, but they're going from like one set to the other to the set, and I was like, I was like, this is tickling my theater brain, and I love every single minute of these shots. Um, and it okay. You know what? Yeah, no, it's a gem of a movie. I definitely think rewatching it a couple of more times, um, will like probably solidify my opinion on it a little bit more, but overall, I really fucking enjoyed it. I'm gonna have to, yeah, like I said, watch it again, and then kind of move around my list of Wes Anderson movies because I really enjoyed French Dispatch. I loved that movie a lot, so I was excited for this one too. Um, and like all of his freaking other movies are fantastic.
Budapest
Um,
Hotel. Yeah.
Fantastic Mr.
Royal Tenenbaums.
Fox. Yeah, no, he's got some incredible movies.
I haven't watched his animated ones actually.
I love Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think that's gotta be one of like my favorite movies. I love that one. And Grand Budapest Hotel.
No, yeah, that one's one of my faves. That one's
That's
really
a good
good.
one. And again, like his the coloring that he decides to use in his films is so like when you see a Wes Anderson film, you know it's a fucking Wes Anderson film just from those small little things. And his editing is so like it's so quick, but like it how do I word this? His editing is quick and like his camera movements are fast, like you mentioned before, but it doesn't like take away from the story and the it's not as jarring as
It's,
I
and it doesn't take you out or doesn't make you feel sick or it's like not a lot of movement. It's like movement that's like purposeful. That's like, oh, okay, now we're directing my eyes up here and this and that. And it doesn't need to be cut from it. That we can just simply move the camera
move. Yep.
to see.
Which I love that. And I will say I gotta backtrack to that alien girl. I'm sorry. But when that scene came on, I think myself and the girl who was like sitting behind me, the nice girl who wasn't talking the entire movie, um, her and I both started to laugh, like chuckle, and I think that gave like both of us the like feeling of, oh, we're allowed to laugh a little bit right now because what the fuck is that? Because what is going on and what am I looking at right now? It looks like a burnt cotton swab or a Q-tip. It looks like a burnt Q-tip. Um, Also, I think I was on my Instagram and they're doing like a sweepstakes pack or something, and you can get a little pin of the alien. And I was
Oh
like,
wow.
that's kind of cute. I kind of want it. Um, but no, I was a little taken aback by the alien when they came out
I
of their
found
little
it.
spaceship.
Yeah, because you weren't. I wasn't. You didn't know like what the alien was gonna look like. That also was kind of like a myth of like what's it gonna. And then you see the long ass legs and like the long little like toenails, like two. But then I found interesting that the part that they used for the car looked like the little thing that came down from the alien. Like
Okay.
that's like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that little like stuff that like corresponded. I thought was like interesting.
I just want a photo of him and like frame it, and then like a small little photo, and like frame it and try to see if people can see it and find it.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. Like where's Waldo? Where's the alien from
yeah,
Asteroid City?
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, there were moments where some of the dialogue was like delivered quickly that I was like, wait, hold on, like I wish I could pause and rewind because I don't know if I caught something that was like if I didn't catch something that was important to the story. Um, but also, I do want to mention I was watching an interview with oh with Scarlett Johansson and the actor that played the dad. Oh, what is his name? Let me look it up real quick. The dad of the three girls. Oh no, what is his
It's
name?
like Jason something.
hmm Um. Oh gosh, how do I pronounce his last name? Schwartzman.
Oh yeah, Schwartzman. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
And Jason Schwartzman, I believe, and Scarlett Johansson. They were in an interview, um, and there's a scene where Scarlett Johansson's character is uh like working on this monologue or whatever with Jason's character, and like she takes her robe off, and you see her whole naked body, and one of the interviewer was like, "Oh, is that like your real body or like a body double?" And Scarlett Johansson was like, you're gonna have to use your imagination. She's like, I'm not answering that. And Jason looked so like irritated in that interview, which I would be too, because like, why is that a question you're asking? Why is that? But also the thing I don't understand with that double standard of if it's a woman doing a scene like that versus a man, you never see a man getting questioned about it, but the woman gets questioned about it all the time.
I mean, there's some now. Like I feel like with like only like with the Bridgerton people or the man or like Insecure was big on like showing male nudity more than like when the show is purposely and they know it's catch on. That's only when the interviewers will be like, oh my gosh, like working with it, like whatever. But also after like Blackwood, like Scarlett Johansson has heard like all the questions where she's like, and she's at
Yeah.
the point where she's like, I'm not answering that. I'm gonna fuck. Okay, I love like the window thing of them talking, but I thought it was so funny. Scarlett Johansson is such a great actress, and I think this just reminded you of how like her range is so good that when she's like pretending to be like OD'd in the bathtub, like she looked
Gone,
hella
girl.
believable. She was like, "No, say it this way."
Oh yeah, and she was like, "Wait, where's your grief?" or whatever, and then he like reread it. No, that was funny. I did love, and those shots too. Those shots were so well like composed and just worked really well together. Um, yeah, no, she's really. I love her. I want her to be in more. Even though that woman has like a huge list of
Huge,
things she's been
yeah.
in.
But even Tilda Swinton was great. She's such a great character actress. Like she can literally disappear in any role, and it's like believable. And then Steve Carell was perfect. Like his character was interesting, where he was like, "Nope, I bought all these machines," and like, "Oh yeah, you can rent this property and get this
You can
little
get this
piece of
deed,
land
yeah.
here." And then he was like, no, yeah, and you have to sleep in the tent because it, burnt down. And then they, like, the comedy was, but it's always a Wes Anderson, like, such a good balance of, like, the comedy and then using the camera movements to be comedic and to, funny, which, like, not many people do so well, like Wes Anderson. So yeah, but then there's sometimes with it was so fast that you're like, wait, I maybe need subtitles or whatever, like to catch it in case there was a joke that I was like, oh, I didn't catch that. Like I'm not laughing because I don't know what he just said. But any last final thoughts?
Um, I would just say go give it a watch. And it'll take you on like a little bit of a roller coaster, but strap in and you'll be fine. You know what I mean? And just remember, like I also like had to remind myself that it is like it's also a comedic movie. So I kind of had to let my not like critical side of my brain, but more so like I don't like serious side of my brain, and I was like, okay, girl, not everything needs to be like I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Like you can laugh, like it's okay to laugh. It's okay to like not take this so seriously, or like why is this not accurate, or
Yes,
why are
yes,
these
yes,
numbers blinking and they're not answering every question? Yeah.
yeah. And so I kind of had to like dispel that and just kind of sit and remind myself and be like, girl, you can just sit and enjoy the movie. You don't gotta have every single thing answered. You don't gotta, you know. So like, but yeah, no, I definitely will give it another watch. Um, Also, I love dissecting Wes Anderson's films, uh, scene wise and like shot composition wise and all that. So I think this one's gonna be really fun to dive into a little bit more. Um, yeah, definitely. I think the writing and the pacing was done really really well. I never really there was no moment where I lost interest in it per se, or where I was like, okay, like this should be over already.
Yeah, same.
It was paced really well, and I'm very glad that it was like an hour and a half long. That it was not more than 2 hours, because I think as an industry, I really hope that we can start to go back on an hour and a half long movies, because sometimes you don't need a 2 hour long movie. Okay, you can hit all your points and everything you want in an hour and a half, and that's okay. And we can keep it that little time
I
frame.
love how we're saying that, but then our podcast is like, enough. But we're also not making a movie on this
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, no. Also, my feature film is an hour and a half, so I'm like, okay, please, can we like keep that and make that like okay with everybody? Because, but also like, I feel like you can never win. Like, it's too short or too long or whatever, and you're like, well, I liked it, you know. But no, yeah, definitely, I'm gonna give it another watch. I loved it. I also want to rewatch all of his movies now and like re-rank. And like
Someone's moving a table in the
that's
background.
okay. Um, and rank my Wes Anderson films. Um, yeah, so I enjoyed it. Definitely go watch it. Good movie.
Likewise.
And then just go ahead and rewind and re-listen to what I said, and that's times two for Hannah.
Yeah.
And she agrees. So yeah, that is the end of this main segment. So if you wanted to pop out and head out, you can. But if you want to stay for like movie news and things like that, we're gonna hop in. I have three show what the fuck am I saying? Three shows that I want to talk about really quickly. Um, so Sex Education's trailer for season 4 just recently dropped, and they also announced that the show is ending with season 4. um i watched I started watching the show when it came out with season 1. I think I got halfway through season 3, and I never finished it. But now that it's confirmed that season 4 is the final, I think I'm probably gonna go ahead and finish season 3 and watch season 4 when it comes out. um I enjoyed it. Did you watch Sex Education or no?
No, I've only seen clips, but I've heard good things. Like it's really
It's
funny. So
It's
So
like,
maybe I'll watch it before this season 4 comes out.
and it's got that British humor that I feel like is just another level where you're like, okay, I can laugh at this because no one's gonna get mad at me for laughing at this. Um, but yeah, no, that um, had come out, and I'm excited for that. Um, the Bear season 2 has come out. I haven't seen The Bear. I really want to. I've heard really, really fucking good things about it. Um, and I like
It's
cooking
funny.
and everything. So, as a
Yeah,
show about chefs and owning a restaurant and all that kind of stuff is very intriguing to me. So, yeah.
and people say like the accuracies, like, because like I like to read the comments, but people are like it's so accurate that like people who are in that world are like it's kind of triggering to watch. Like the parts of like like the intensity, especially of going to like culinary school or having that one person that's and it's crazy because it is like a comedy, yet it's like 45 minutes to things. It's not like a 30-minute comedy, but it's done so well, and like yeah, it's done with such care, and like you can find comedy in it's a good mix of drama and comedy. And I watched the episode 6 and the finale of season 2. I watched clips throughout, but it's like I watched it, but then I was like, okay, I don't know if this is little like too much for me, so I have to go back and watch it. But when I watch, because Jamie Lee Curtis is playing, spoiler, like the mom, and that kind of like shows like why they're like this and how it is, because the mom was only mentioned, they never like shown her, so this was like the first time we were introduced to her mom in season 2. So then you kind of see like this big family dinner, which has like John Mulaney, Sarah Paulson, Bob Ozzie, like literally everyone in the mom is like related
At
in this family.
at this family dinner.
Yeah. And their last name means bear in Italian. So that's also like the meaning of like that. Um, and they actually like discuss like what like, oh well, a bear is aggressive, but sometimes they're kind, and it kind of just like perfectly encapsulates like that family. And it's nice because it was a chaotic family dinner, which is like, okay, that's what I can relate more
I
to than
understand.
like normal.
Mhm.
Yeah. Where and then you kind of see like the mom and like struggling with like like a mental illness and stuff, and how that affects each of her 3 kids and stuff, and how the other families. So they're doing a phenomenal job with the casting too, the writing, like everything's great. Like I said, I hadn't watched episode, and I watched the finale, and I was over here like, look at them, he got his restaurant, like I kept enough tabs on it, so it was like yeah. And I've heard a lot of good things. Like it's getting reviews, and it keeps, and they popped everything out, like all the episodes, because thought they were gonna do it like
Weekly.
because sometimes Hulu does weekly, sometimes it does, and this one I thought they were, and then they were like, boom, with all the episodes, here you go.
Yeah, no, that's
So they
it's
keep promoting
definitely.
it. They keep promoting it because all the episodes are out. Because that's the thing, is what's hard is when all the episodes come out. Like if people don't, getting that viewership of like, oh, we had a lot of viewerships and now it's died, but like keeping it up going so they have it for a longer period of time of people watching the show.
Is it confirmed for season 3 or no? We don't know yet. I haven't seen
I want
anything
to
about a season 3.
say, yeah, I feel like yes, but I can't remember. I mean, probably will, to be honest. Like, it's getting them awards and doing well, and it's on FX. It's on like, which is part of like Hulu, so it's like they're gonna
Yeah.
let it go. Like FX and Hulu, they let their shows run for a bit. So,
That's true, yeah. But yeah, no, this show's definitely on my list. It looks really good. Also, I'm hearing rumors that Selena Gomez and Jeremy Allen are in a relationship, which I fully support. So I hope
same,
that's true.
likewise.
I hope that's
That
true.
would be really cute. Yeah.
And then also, it's I've got one more show I want to talk about. Um, and it's kind of gonna segue me into the movies. So A Good Girl's Guide to Murder has been picked up to be turned into a show. And for those of you who don't know, Good Girl's Guide to Murder is a trilogy based off of a girl named Pip who does this like um, project for school where she dives into like this murder case for, like I said, a school project, but she finds these like redacted court statements or something like that, and then throughout the books, like finds out that it's not actually solved because they didn't get the right person. So she essentially solves this murder. And I believe Emma Myers has been cast as Pip, which got everybody so excited, and I'm also excited because I loved her in Wednesday, and I have just inherently started to love her too. So like, I'm excited to see her in something else. And I think they've casted the rest of the characters. I'm not sure, but I do know that
Because
she has been
yeah,
cast.
they announced her, and then they announced like
What's the
the other
guy's
kid's
name?
name. The
Not
well, I
Rob.
think ends up playing like
Rob.
her love interest, but also the brother of the person who ends up getting convicted for this murder, um, suicide, so crime. But then it was nice to hear like the creator was like, no, this casting is like perfect. Like these
Mm-hmm.
are like they embody the character so well. So that's always like a then you get more excited. So
Yeah.
I'm like she's like such a great like like you easily fall in love with her, and I think and it's good that she's leading a show too and getting that like responsibility and that credit to show off and show everybody that she can do it. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited for her. And then segueing again into a book movie adaptation now, Red, White, and Royal Blue trailer dropped the other day. I haven't read this book. I've heard really, really good things about this book. And it's going to be on Amazon Prime, I believe. Let me double check. I think it is on
it's a
Prime.
Prime, yeah, it's a Prime
Um,
Video original movie.
Yeah, and it looks good, and I'm excited. Oh, although again, I haven't read the book, so
But it's pretty much the
I don't know.
story of the son of the American president, who I support, Uma Thurman, as being the woman president of the United States with her southern accent, from Texas, y'all. And then basically it starts with a feud between him and the British prince, Prince Henry, and then maybe it ends up being more. I mean, if you watch the trailer, it clearly
Yeah.
shows that they fall in love with each other. This is a gay love story, so
Period.
yeah, and it's a more recent book too.
Yeah.
Like so, but it looks like they have good chemistry, and it looks like an enjoyable coming of age little love story. So I'll probably end up watching it just to see how they do it.
How it
If they
goes.
do it well. There's also
Uh,
another trailer that came out for Puppy Love, a Freeview original with Lucy Hale and Grant Gustin, which I support Grant Gustin getting
oh.
more work.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
basically like take the plot of Legally Blonde 2, where the two dogs fall in love with each other, and that's pretty much like the whole basis, but they're not fighting animal like rights or whatever in Congress and all that shebang. It's like they end up swiping on each other. They go on a date, they bring their dogs, and then the dogs end up and then impregnate and then get pregnant, and then they like spend more time together because the dogs want to spend time together, and then they end up falling in love. And I learned all of that from the trailer.
We love an informative trailer.
But I was gonna say that's I think very rom com. Like that's just a very rom com stereotype of a trailer to tell you everything. Which when I think
Yeah.
of like, okay, if I want to do rom com, like, yeah, do I want? But then people going usually to watch kind of want to know like, okay, I don't want to get invested in this and it's not gonna end good.
Yeah.
Like I want it to end happy.
Yeah. Um let me see what else we can segue into. Martin Scorsese has a new movie coming out, Killers of the Flower Moon. It's coming out
It's
October
coming on Apple
20th.
TV. It is, but it's
Apple
coming
TV.
like on. It's an Apple TV, which they probably will play it at select theaters, but it is coming on. Which he's been doing more and embracing, like doing how he did like what was it, The Irishman, like on
Yep.
Netflix and stuff like that, and doing it. I'm interested. I mean, it looks good, and that story, like to be able to tell that important story, and like that whole history of it. So it's like compelling, and some of those shots were really beautiful, like with the drumming, and then that like those shots in the trailer, and then I mean you can't go wrong with De Niro and DiCaprio, and then actually having them accurately have like Native Americans, actors. Because the woman, I don't know if she's been in other stuff, but she looks great. So hopefully she'll get some buzz too, because her performance looks great just from the trailer. So, and I can only imagine like with what the story they're telling, it's only gonna probably be better of what she has to go through or whatnot. So
Um. Also, okay, so we talked about that.
Also,
Um.
Warrior Nun season
Girl.
3 is gonna happen. That's the important topic. No, because it got canceled. But the thing is, Warrior Nun was like, again, like we've talked about before, like the top 10 on like Netflix was like, wow, you're in the top 10. And sometimes Netflix doesn't give a fuck if you're in the top 10 because they canceled like First Kill, Warrior Nun, and they, because both are like big, has lesbians in them, lesbian stories, main lesbian stories. The LGBTQ plus community, the lesbians like fought and got together. But I want to say also because this has happened a lot, like with the show that I really liked was Winona Earp, and they were losing and we're gonna get their like fourth season to kind of like really, because season two with Warrior Nun ended kind of with a cliffhanger. So that really upset. That's if you like not sure if you're gonna get another season and with a cliffhanger, so your fans can really fight because you're like, wait, what the fuck? What is happening? I need to know. And then you're more like, eager to fight for like a full wrap, of the season. But with, I mean, there's been articles that come out that are like, how come it's really like a lot more like the girl of girl stories that y'all are cutting, but equality one day we'll get there maybe, or more like just equity. But that with it, that the showrunner, the creator, and the actress of Winona Earp decided to go on Twitter and say like, hey, I'm having a hard time. We may not get it. And because she was open about it, and I want to say same with the Warrior Nun like creator, being open about it with the fans and being like, hey, let's ride together. Same with what's happening with the Rise of the Pink Ladies, where they're like, guys, no, like we need to all come together. Let's make a united thing. I think that really helps when they're honest about like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we need, and this could actually help get us this or that. So it was the creator who kind of like dropped the news of Warren on that. Oh my gosh, we're getting a season 3. We're gonna be able to like tell this story. But yeah, it kind of helps, I think, when they come out and they're like, yo, guys, like let's band together and we can use your help because we each of us can only do so much, but together we're a lot stronger. Coming from the people who created it and the people who are watching it, because that's the two fucking main people like that are doing the show. You know what I mean? Like without you, you're not creating it, and then without the people watching it, you don't have leverage, without having people who are like, no, I'll fucking watch it, I'll stream it, I'll buy it, like, because it's all money. So you're like, hey, we want this show. So it's kind of nice and like to see that happen because it's not like it was a quick turnaround time. It's been a few months since they canceled it and heard the news. So it's kind of gives you like hope for some shows that, okay, like you can keep fighting and get another one.
Yeah, I really need Rise of the Pink Ladies to come back, so we're gonna keep streaming. Listen, keep streaming the
Well,
music
you can't.
on.
It's gone. You can't
No, it's
just
not.
stream the songs. The songs you
Oh,
can
girl, yeah, I
stream.
was talking about the songs. I was like,
Okay, I thought you were like stream the show. It's gone now. But yeah,
no,
stream
you
on
scared me,
Spotify.
bitch. I was like, no. I was like, I was told the music would stay.
No, the music. Yeah, the music they're not gonna get rid of because they don't really have that much. But like on their platform, yeah, it's gone. It's on Paramount Plus.
Upsetting. Anyway, moving on. Uh, what? Also, okay, yes. Okay, I've heard some things here and there about the adaptation for the live action Hercules. I heard it like years ago that there was like speculation that they were gonna do a Hercules live action. Um, Now from what I've seen, it has been confirmed that it's gonna be done. It's the next like animated Disney movie that's gonna have a live action, which is very exciting. I wasn't able to find any information on casting or anything. But I believe the director for it is, guess who? The same one who did Aladdin. My favorite. So I know I'm gonna love it. I have to double check that though before I share that information. Um,
Also, I
but
want to know what happened to the Hercules fucking musical that
okay,
they
me
were
too,
working
girl.
on.
Because
Because
it
they
was
literally had like, and they were doing like off Broadway previews. I like whatever workshopping all that stuff. Because I was following the girl who was playing the fucking main girl whose name is
Meg.
like, yeah, Meg, and And then now she's in another show. Now she's in Water for Elephants, which I'm like, I don't know why they brought that on, but now they're literally using any movie to bring out as a musical. That's a whole other sidetrack thing. But
That's
yeah,
another
I'm
thing.
like, what happened to that though?
It literally
But
just
whatever.
disappeared, girl. I swear it just disappeared. And I was like,
I mean, same as Devil Wears Prada, like that too, kind of like disappeared. But I think it got really bad reviews, and I think they kind of were like,
while we still can, let's get out of here.
but who knows? It may randomly be like, hey, this fall, who knows? So,
like, you know what? Maybe.
but the most important news is that the Idol is done.
Bitch,
But
okay.
everybody involved is like there could be another season. Like this isn't just a one season show. And
Please
I'm gonna
be a
tell
one
you,
season
it's a
show.
fucking one. As somebody who watched every fucking episode, it's a one season show because I don't care enough to really see. Like there's certain characters like the manager, like Destiny, like Heim, that I would love to just see them like fuck shit up and go on their side and like being managers and being, taking care of that side of it. But like,
Can you fill
even
me
the
in?
finale, even the
Like,
fucking finale, I was watching with my brother and we were like, okay, so
because I stopped after the
I know you only
pilot.
watched the pilot, and now I'm like, do I even want to get into other things? So you find out more of her backstory, that her mother, like a lot of show moms, was basically like physically abusing her. I mean, also probably emotionally abusing her, whatever, that she would like hit her with this hairbrush that she had. So, you know, Tedros comes, brings his whole like squad in, his other people who are performing or whatnot, who are all amazing actual musicians who actually like helped play, because they did a lot of like the people in this were like the actual music supervisors or wrote songs or executive producing it were like actually in the show. So they really were like, it was nice to see everybody like, oh, my idol family or whatever, but it's like, guys, like whack ass fucking show that like also the ending was like, I'm a fucking flip shit, like fucking upsetting ending. So then you're like, this is what this led to, like what the fuck. And now you're just like, I want to see what the lady did. Like I want to see her director's cut of the show that she got to like film 80% of. Because there's pictures of like the shoe with her looking like a young adult, and there's some photos of that we never got to see any of Jocelyn's backstory, which like watching her talk about the mom, I think somebody's gonna do it here soon, especially with like Jeanette McCurdy's book and stuff. Of like, I think people are interested in that type of thing. Of that, if you're gonna show an abusive relationship, which they were in a very toxic Tedros and Jocelyn relationship, which was like not very enjoyable to watch at all. They show like the abusive relationship, like Tedros and Jocelyn are a very toxic, abusive relationship. But I think people, like when she talks about her mom and what they did, and like even how it affects Troye Sivan's character, that like she did a document saying like he was too good at sing, that like you need to not like sing or else I'm gonna tell them that you're gay or whatever, and like all this like should be like, I'd rather see that though. I'd rather see those scenes with like the crazy shit of the show mom, like that kind of thing that you hear about all of these child stars coming up and how like their parents were like abusive. I think people are eager to kind of see a show like that, to kind of see that relationship of, yeah, that would be an interesting thing to play out of. Yeah, they're your mom, like how do you get out of that? Like, the ones who didn't get their money or that whole thing when you're a child, or like them abusing you. And you find out that like Jocelyn kind of needed her mom because it was kind of motivating her abuse to like keep going and doing it. Because then you see her have like a mental breakdown, like shooting a music video because she misses her mom. So she's like missing that inspiration, and that's kind of what Tedros coming in does for her. It inspires her to be able to write her own album, like to be able to find this new music. So you literally see her like give the hairbrush to him, and he realizes like he's now being like, in a way, like her mom, like fucking abusing her, but also like taking care of her at the same time. So it's like a very messy, blurred lines, but it's also weird because it's like, now I'm viewing you, Tedros, as like a motherly figure because that's what her mom did. So you're like, what the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck? And then you also see what is it, Deanna, the girl from um the Pink, the K-pop girl, that star who was the dancer, she ends up stealing Jocelyn's song, and they sign her because the one lady with the glasses and the short like gray hair is like, oh my gosh, you're a star, I'm gonna sign you and get it. And then she ends up being fucked over at the end because then they all listen to Jocelyn's like song and like, oh my gosh, it's amazing, yeah, yeah. So it's like you just see like the backstabbery and the fakeness of all this like music industry. And then Jocelyn finds out that like the episode before the finale, like, oh my gosh, Tedros set her up because she finds out that, oh yeah, did you hear that like Diana like has your song now, she's singing it, and she's like, what the heck? And then you see her come to the party, Diana, and is talking to Tedros, and then this other girl who's a part of like Tedros's like squad, who's definitely underage, you find that out, but she can sing really like good and play the piano. And there's a scene where she's like butt naked like playing the piano, and they're crazy ass like scenes. this is this is the idol. And she's like, oh my gosh, like, so she gets high on Molly, so she like starts telling her, she's like, yeah, no, like Tedros told her to take you to his club and all stuff. So she finds out it was all a setup. That she was like, oh fuck, so Tedros was using me. So she's like, well, fuck you, Tedros. So she invites her ex-boyfriend over and like locks him out. And then you start seeing Jocelyn start taking control and being like, so I know you came in here, introduced me to artists, well, I like them, so they're my artists now. So I'll run this little like cult little thing and like shut the fuck up. So like that was empowering to see Jocelyn to be like, fuck you, Tedros, like I don't care about your opinion, and like being in charge of herself. Like that was great, right? You're like, yes. Then you find out that they Haim, the manager's like, okay, I'm gonna take care of Tedros. And then because he's like, Tedros, like, you need to leave, I'll give whatever money, because Jocelyn's like, just pay him off whatever he wants. He's like, I don't want money, like Jocelyn's worth more. But then they get the girl, well, yeah, I think she identifies as a girl. But like the trans actor is also now in the Barbie movie, who works for Vanity Fair, I think it was, gets him to write an article about Tedros, about all his back shit, about how crazy he was, how he like has all this like assault charges, all this stuff. So basically like ruins him, like with all this shit, like boom, ruins him. So all the tour people are like, okay, great, Justin's gonna go on tour. Troye Sivan's character ends up like standing up and singing. So they're like, okay, you're gonna be on tour, open for me, and all these like other people, like the black guy ends up performing, opening for her. So they're all like, yay, we're gonna open. It's that scene where they're like performing for them, and then Chitra's like, you gotta sell this sex, you gotta be really over. So they're over here like, hey guys, and okay, I don't think we really needed to go that far, but like just sing, if you're good, great, like let's move on. But anyways, they overboard that whole scene where they perform to be like, okay, we're going on tour, we're all good. So they're like, yay. So they shot this at the Weeknd's tour. So you see like his like mood from his like recent tour, which obviously saves money. And they're talking about how they had a smaller film crew. Like they're on tour, so it's like they had access to all like the backstage, the whole arena and whatever. And like she went out to like 70,000 people, like Lily Rose, like that was the actual audience. So they only had a few takes. They only had that Friday and Saturday night because it was like his Los Angeles show to go in and record. So like that was cool how they were able to use all that. But you see Tedros walking while like the managing team is like up above, kind of like the pilot where they're talking naturally, like we ruined him, like whatever. And then you see him walking and you're like, what the fuck is he doing here? And he asks like at the ticket booth, like, oh, do you have a pass for Tedros? So I'm like, nope. And then he was like, okay, do you have? And then he gives like his real name. And they're like, oh yeah, for that we do have a pass. So then you see him walking in, and then he goes, and then he meets Destiny, the black girl, and who's like, she's like, listen, like I'm gonna fuck with you. If you fuck her up again, like I will fucking kill you. Like I don't play. And then you're like, what the fuck is she even talking to him? I thought he was like gone. So then he meets with Jocelyn, and then Jocelyn gives him a fucking brush, and then he like says, he's like, oh, there's no hair, like this is a new brush. And then she smiles, so it's like, so she basically brings back Tedros because she realizes, oh, I'm gonna use you, but now she's fully in control, because then she introduces him. She's like, hello angels, I want to introduce you to the love of my life, and then brings him on stage. And then he's like, yeah, we're like us forever. But she's like, but go stand over there. So like now she's in control, and like basically like, you know, like whipping him and being like, yes, I need you in my life because I need that inspiration. So you're like, so this whole time you're excited for her to be like, fuck you, Daniel. And then she's like, actually, I need you, bitch. And you're like, what the actual fuck? And then I didn't even get into like them wearing the fucking shock collars and getting shocked while they perform, or Troy Sivan was getting shocked because Tetris was like, you're lying about the thing. Like, Jocelyn says that her mom didn't sign a contract about you singing, and like all this crazy ass other shit too going on in this show that you're like, what the fuck? Like,
Bitch, you can tell this shit was written by men, bro. What the fuck?
like it was just upsetting that ending. You're like, fuck. Like, I was really happy. Like, okay, yay. She was like, fuck you. Like, I don't even give a shit. You're in control. Like, what the hell? But like for me, it was like perfect. And there, we're done with it. Let's move on. Like, but there's some people who are like, oh my gosh, I'd be interested to see another thing. You're like,
Bitch, what would you want to what would you want to
I like
see?
what you can see like more abusing shit. Like you kind of already saw the whole fall of them. Like they kind of did everything in the first season of like, oh, the ups and the downs of the industry. You know what I mean? And backstabbing this and that. That it's like it would just mean more of that. And I don't necessarily know if I like give enough fucks. Like, because what are you gonna be like? Oh my gosh, the tour's dropping money. Like we've already saw that and how she had to come back from that. So it's like, what do you do now for like a season? Like, where's the drama of it now that you've kind of like resolved like a lot of that stuff that was like the main issues. So yeah, it's definitely a great, fun, crazy ride. I was like, what the fuck? Like yeah, and everyone's just kind of like fucking bring you for it, and hopefully it's really good. And yeah,
Well, I didn't miss much, I guess. Jeez.
no,
But I quickly want to rapid fire these last couple things. Insidious 5, the what is it? The red door, the red
red
room.
door,
What is it?
the red door,
The red
the
door
door.
um is so far going to be the last movie in this like franchise for a while. At least that's what I'm seeing. Which I didn't even realize there was a fucking Insidious 5, bitch. I like forgot and lost count at 3, and so I totally didn't realize that 5 was out. But I will say I did enjoy the first two Insidious movies. Um, I watched them when I was pretty young, so probably not a great idea to do that. Um, but I enjoyed them. Will I see all of them? I don't know. We'll see. I like. Okay, hold on. This is not important to what we're talking about. But the Conjuring movies, I fucking love those movies. But then this fourth one sucked booty hole. I fucking hated it. It was horrible. Didn't like it. Because it literally talks about like a actual trial that happens in real life where the guy pleads like possession, that he was possessed by a demon for killing these people. So I was excited because I'm someone who loves that type of like true crime, supernatural stuff, and it was an actual court case, so I was interested in seeing how they were gonna do it. Bitch, that court case itself is in there for like 5 minutes. Bitch, and the rest of that movie is like Ed and Lorraine being in the fucking hell or some shit. I don't even fucking know. And I was upset. Anyway, Insidious 5.
But the Nun 2
Yes,
trailer just dropped. So
Nun 2 did drop. Yep. There's a lot in like the Conjuring fucking. I don't know how they keep track of it. Conjuring universe is huge. But yeah, Insidious 5 is the last one for a while. The Bob Marley One Love trailer. Do you say biopic or
mm,
biopic? Some people say biopic. I'm like, what the
I
fuck are you saying? That
oh,
sounds
I
like a
say
medical term.
biopic.
Um, I say biopic too, and I hear people say biopic, and I'm like, that legit sounds like a medical term that I don't know what you're saying. But biopic for Bob Marley, the trailer dropped, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah, same.
I don't. I should probably get more into Bob Marley's music and more of uh, like his life and learning a little bit more about him. But I'm excited to see this movie when it comes out. It looks really good too. And I'm a sucker for biopics. I love them. Um, Beetlejuice 2 has been picked up and it's been in the works for a while. But we just got some set photos with Winona Ryder and Jenna Ortega on set, filming what looks to be a wedding. I'm not sure what the fuck that's going to correlate within the movie. Of course, nobody's seen it yet. But it's going to be directed by Tim Burton again. And then there's talks of Michael Keaton coming back to to play Beetlejuice again, which I'm really excited for. And I'm excited to see what the plot is going to be for Beetlejuice 2, because I know Jenna Ortega plays Winona Ryder, Lydia Dietz, her daughter. So I'm excited to see what that plot is going to be and how they're going to kind of expand the franchise. And then the last thing I want to talk about, it's funny, and I don't understand why everyone got upset about it. But I think in every fucking podcast episode we've talked about the Barbie movie, so we're gonna keep doing that. Um, there was a controversial thing, I don't even fucking know, that came out about, there's a scene in the Barbie movie where there's like a map of the world, and people were getting upset about it, and it was like a controversial thing now because of the way the world was like drawn, and like something with uh like Asia being drawn incorrectly or something, and now that's resulted in the film being banned in Vietnam. But Warner Brothers actually came out and were like, guys, it doesn't have to be taken that seriously because this depiction is from a child's point of view. It's drawn in crayon, for Christ's sake. Like, we don't have to take it that seriously. So Warner Brothers came out and talked about it, and I didn't understand what was going on because I kept seeing this all over like my feed and everything, and I was like, what map, what are we talking about? And then I realized it was the Barbie movie, and I was like, interesting, okay. But that's that. Also, Oppenheimer looks so good. I cannot wait for that movie to come out.
I
and
know they keep playing the trailers because and then I'm just like getting more excited that I'm like, let's go, it's coming up.
and people are saying it's Nolan's best film so far, so I'm like so excited. And it looks, that trailer, if you want to know what a good trailer looks like, go watch the Oppenheimer trailer, because I'm serious, like every like line that's said in the trailer, but also like every shot is done so beautifully, and every line has stakes to it that you hear in the trailer. So you're like, I feel like I'm gonna have a panic attack when I watch the movie. Like, I'm gonna be so stressed out, but I'm so excited to go see that movie. I'm so excited, and I can't wait. I'm a double feature Barbie and Oppenheimer, girl. I don't know which one I'm
Oh
gonna see
yeah.
first.
No, that's everyone's biggest question of like that it's like, or they keep doing the combination of Oppenheimer and Barbie together too as
Those
well.
are so cool. Like, the art that's coming out looks awesome. Someone did like a ticket stub that was like, I don't even know, like Barbie and Oppenheimer, but the titles are put together. I don't know. It looks really fucking cool. People are, the internet's awesome sometimes. So
Well, I'll quickly say this. Um, Indiana Jones, my hat is I realized I'd never seen an Indiana Jones movie in the movie theater because like they obviously came out like the first three, like fucking I was not I was raised on the VHS tapes of Indiana Jones, and then Crystal Skull Kingdom. I can't remember if they went like obviously like with having a big ass family. It wasn't like, oh, let's all go to the movies every time, you know. Like it wasn't like. So just to see an Indiana Jones movie finally on the movie theater, you're like, damn, like it was like 2.5 hours long, but even I was never like, oh my gosh, like the pacing was really done well, and they felt like they combined everything that was great about like the Indiana Jones movies, like having a kid sidekick, having a woman who just wasn't just a love interest. Like Phoebe Waller Bridge like killed it, and honestly, her and her little kid sidekick, like I would watch a movie of their like prequel of their times before. Like I thought her character had so much good like depth and background to it that she wasn't just like one note. Um, of course they do like the Luke Skywalker where they put like a younger face because and they also have like the Nazis which he's fighting the Nazis, spoilers, so it's like they have like a train fight, like they have everything good from all the other Indiana Jones movies that they really just meshed really well together, and like it was just a good ass time, and like I went with my family for 4th of July and everybody like enjoyed it, like it was like damn, like who doesn't love Indiana Jones, and also like every time that fucking theme music came on you're like bitch I could dance to this for the rest of my life. Like, yeah, it was really good. Like, because I know some people are like, and yes, like the CGI, like, because you know, like, okay, it's a little like, it's not his face, right? But like, after a while, you get used to it. It's like, that's like the only thing that people, and then Mads Mikkelsen plays a great villain as always. But it has an interesting thing of what it does, and it has good, like, even though it's not like full closure, but in a way of like, oh, he can pass it on to like, Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character of doing it, and I like that they do address like Shia LaBeouf, like what happened to him. Like they don't be like fucking like we're gonna forget about that whole movie. Like they do address what happens to him, which I thought was nice. So you have like good kind of like tying loose ends up, and then you just have like the good action, fucking good time. So if you're looking for a good, fun action thriller, you can never go wrong with Indiana Jones, and the Dial of Destiny does not disappoint. So yeah, it was a good time. And I will say, the Sound of Freedom is not as Christian as people are saying. As a Christian, it's not that God is like not like a huge center point of it, because I read a review and they were like yeah, besides the God thing, I'm like,
But also, girl,
no one prays in the movie, so ain't nobody praying. It ain't that Christian, like it ain't. But of course, Angel Studios very much does, like they're the ones who do the series about Jesus Christ. They're the ones who started as Bait Angel, who would it was like a censor thing that they did. So if you wanted to watch Game of Thrones but didn't want to watch the nudity or stuff, they cut out those parts of the show. So that's kind of how like the origin of Angel Studios. They're actually the people who did like the Poopery like commercials. They were like brothers who made commercials, made that to censor it, and then created Angel Studios when Disney sued them because they were like, "Hey, this you can't be taking my art," and like creators upsetting that. It's like, no offense, more people are watching it. They just don't want to watch maybe like all the foul language in this movie, but they're still being able to watch it. So there was a whole legal battle, and actually, The Sound of Freedom got shelved after it was made 5 years ago, and it
that's
got
what I
shelved.
that's what
Yeah,
I
by
saw.
Disney
Yeah,
when they merged, because it was through Fox, and then when they merged, Disney shelved it, and actually, it made like $3 million more than Indiana Jones on its opening day. Like Indiana Jones made 11 million, they made 14 million domestic. So it's like people are coming out. There was like a whole nunnery who bought out like a movie theater, like like
Jesus.
like people come out and watching. And I was surprised when I went, like how many people, like everyone was there who was at the theater was there to see that movie, and it was actually a pretty good thriller. And they do a good way of like they don't show anything because it's about child trafficking based on the true story and adventures of this federal agent Tim Ballard, who like was trying to do more than like his job didn't allow him to really rescue the children. He only really got to catch pedophiles in America, but like rescuing the children in the third world countries. And they did a very good job of like showing, like not showing the child thing, but alluding to it. And of course, your imagination is worse, but like still having the impact of like, oh my gosh, like, hey, a man enters the room and then close the curtains with a girl. And like that, you don't need to see anything more, right? Like, there's no point of it, but you know that it's like sad or tiring. So they really like. I cried a few fucking times in that movie, and like in the beginning, like barely, like before I was like, oh my gosh, like first of all, there's a special place in hell for people who fucking do shit to children.
My mom and
So
I
you're already like
literally,
triggered.
my mom and I were having this conversation. I think the other day because I was watching. Yeah, I was watching a podcast episode, a Mile Higher podcast episode. They were talking to retired district attorney, and he was talking about his job, and he specifically talked about working on the John Benet Ramsey case, uh, which that podcast is incredible, and I love them. They do incredible things for victims and advocate and incredible. Um, but yeah, no, and I was telling my mom, and my mom and I were just like, I don't understand. Leave like okay, touching people or whatever, like murder, whatever. It's not good regardless, but leave kids alone. Like I don't understand how like ew. Like just go kill yourself. Like I like like you do not belong. You do not deserve to be alive. You leave kids alone. You let them grow up and go play outside and go play with Legos. Like leave them alone. And also the thing that I don't understand is people do not realize how big of a epidemic problem child trafficking is in the United States and all over the world.
Or like
Um,
because at the end they show you like all like the statistics, and then they show you the real footage of the stuff that they
it's
like
fucking
based off of the
crazy.
people. And they're like, one of the largest consumers is like America, and you're like, that's fucking disgusting. Like,
It's 100% true and people don't know about it. And then they try to be like, no, that's not true. But literally look at the statistics. Like I think like 100,000 kids go missing every year. Every year.
A- And there's a good line in the movie where it's like when they think like you can sell a bag of cocaine only once, a child or a human being you can sell 5 to 10 times a day. Where you think like no wonder it's like increasing so much because boom, 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 where we can reuse it on like drugs or all that stuff. It's like a one-time use, which is fucking disgusting. That it's like, why are we even selling people?
Because it's
Like,
money.
and
It makes
especially
money.
fucking children. But yeah, and I have to say that was one of the points of like you find like all these different parts in South America and then like, a little bit in America, but like since it's more like that, like in South America and like who's doing it, how they catch it, is that there's pedos everywhere. Literally, from the jungles to the fucking cities, there's pedos in every corner, which is fucking disgusting.
Like I will never understand it. And but it's also like the other worst thing about it is now we're turning into like a true crime podcast, Jesus. But like the worst thing about it is like governors and officers and they get paid off. How do you think this happens all the time? It's disgusting because money, people will do anything for money. And it's disgusting and moral of this fucking story is leave kids alone and go kill yourself if you're a pedophile. Like that's literally point blank it. You deserve the deepest depths of hell and to burn and to die. Like
Absolutely,
there's no other thing to say
absolutely.
about it. But I will say though, because I didn't know that was like categorized as a Christian movie. Because MJ and I were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, that it looks really good. And as someone who really, who loves to dive into true crime and cases like that, and um, all that kind of stuff, it's on my list. And I was like, oh yeah, I want to watch it. And then you told me that it was a Christian movie, and I was like, didn't know that, but I still want to go see it. Like it still looks really good. Am I gonna cry? Probably.
It's a solid, and it's technically an independent film because Angel Studio is not a
Yep.
big like thing. So like, I would actually like recommend like it's a good, solid like watch. It's like a good like it leaves you like disgusted, hopeful that there's people were able to do it, and the guy he still runs his organization, his like underground like railroad like thing where he helps other things and gives them technology and helps to fight this and like so there's a good message and like and they want the movie to like be shared a lot and shown and being like hey this needs to be something to end like they want this movie to be a start of a conversation of like what can you do what can we do to help prevent this because it's such a huge ass problem so yeah so but I was like actually like genuinely because I kind of was like yeah because a lot of it was being shown through like Christian or like Republican like on that conservative media it's like ads and whatever so like I was like, but then everyone was like, Sound of Freedom," and then my dad, I was like, oh, I'll go with my dad to watch it because I'm always down to watching movies. But I was like actually like genuinely pleased like with it. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. Like they're upping it, and even like the looks and the shots and stuff, and even the whole meaning behind Sound of Freedom is actually quite beautiful. Like why they named the movie that, and like how that like plays in like that you learn in the movie. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, also speaking of organizations and all that kind of stuff, Thorn is an incredible organization run by, I believe Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher. They started it, and it's an organization that that works to stop child trafficking. Brought home like thousands of kids, and they found them and brought them home. And incredible organization. Definitely look them up. Um, they're awesome. And yeah, on that note, uh, we're gonna end the episode here. It's also 9:20, and you gotta go in 10 minutes.
I gotta go watch some movies. So
Watch another movie. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of the episode. Feel free to let us know if there's any movies or shows you want us to talk about in future episodes. Uh, yeah, go watch some movies. Go be safe.
it's a good summer. It's a good summer. So
Good releases.
spend
Yeah,
some time
absolutely.
spend some time at the movie theater.
But yeah, that's gonna be it from us today, and we will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye.